Good day, classmates, especially to our instructor, Mrs. Natalie L. Dominar. Welcome to our Chapter 2 entitled Crafting the Curriculum of EDOC 10, Curriculum Development and Evaluation, Emphasis on Trainers Methodology 3. Before we proceed, let me introduce to you myself first and the rest of the members. So I am Krystelle Mae Abuyog. Next, we have Robella Tenio, Loel Jay Blanes, John Michael Duterte, Christian David Bastasa, Charity Panugaling, Mary Glenn Butoy, Nia Jean de la Cruz, and Laika Nicole Montediramo. We are now in Module 3 that talks about the teacher as a curriculum designer. This module will provide the necessary concepts and activities that you as a teacher can refer to as you prepare yourself to be a curriculum designer. Our talking points for this session will be the Lesson 1, the fundamentals of curriculum designing, and Lesson 2, approaches of the curriculum designing. After this session, we will be able to identify the fundamentals of curriculum designing and appreciate the task of designing a curriculum. Let's start first with Lesson 1, the fundamentals of curriculum designing. So when we say fundamentals, it means it is one of the basic and important part which is primary rule so that the teacher will be able to identify and target and to ensure the main purpose na iyahang i-apply sa iyahang students. Curriculum as a planned sequence of learning experiences should be the heart and mind of every teacher. So, mao ni siya ang process sa pag-organize sa mga several lessons nga itudlo sa student. Purpose ani niya to create a smooth flow towards students in order to meet the objectives of the said topics or units and in order to achieve the learning outcomes of students. Curriculum also considered as the heart of any learning institutions. So for example, can you imagine if one person having no heart, can he or she will be able to function? So, in curriculum means that the school or universities or even institution can't function without curriculum. But always remember that the total learning experiences of the students are not only in schools, but in society as well. So we are now in purpose. First, every teacher as a curricularist should be involved in designing a curriculum. So as a teacher, maagi niya siya ang main rule as a curricularist. In designing, kailangan ma-provide ang necessary aspect that will enable the learners what you intend them to learn. Sa mga niagi na mga panahon, ang mga teachers designs a lessons or utilize a lesson that has been already made. Designing a curriculum is a challenging part sa isa ka teacher kay diri makita iyang creativity o style nga iyahang i-impart sa iyahang students. So next, the teacher design each curriculum with a specific educational purpose in mind. Ang ultimate goal is to improve learning capabilities, which is at this point main target ang specific learning outcomes sa isa ka students. So in other words, mo ni siya ang paagi sa isa ka teacher to plan a instruction. So like for example, if once a teacher design a curriculum, dili sulod ang what will be done, who will be done, and what schedules to follow. So naa sila sequence nga dapat masunod in order to ma-achieve ang ilahang objectives. That includes series of experiences that at the end makuha sa isa ka students ang learning nga intent sa isa ka teacher. So let's proceed to building on Peter OLIVA'S 10 axioms for curriculum designers. Every curriculum designer, implementer, or evaluator should take in mind the following general axioms as a guide in curriculum development by OLIVA 2003. So first, curriculum change is inevitable, necessary, and desirable. One of the characteristics of curriculum is its being dynamic. When we say dynamic, naa siya changes. Through changes, life form grows and develop. So curriculum is not consistent itself. Sa atong na-observe is the change siya throughout the year. So it has been 4 years since Philippines shifted another educational system, which is the K-12 curriculum. So before tani come up sa K-12 curriculum, naa pa siya old curriculum. So example, past years we have primary education consists in 6 years. Secondary education, 4 years only, and tertiary education, we have 4 years. Societal development and knowledge revolution comes so fast that the needs to address the changing condition requires new curriculum design. As well as sa atong society. For example, in technology and society, kung saan nakipad lang ang cellphone, then nagka-high-tech, nagka-improve, which means through changes is na siya develop o ga-improve siya. So, curriculum needs improvements. That's why dili siya consistent. So, therefore, another methods ang ma-learn sa isa ka students and will be able to learn new skills. So, in 20th century, more on memorization sa lessons, gabay sa books, which is dito ang unlimited access of information. Then, naang attention tanan sa teacher or what we call information provider. So, sa niaging panahon is magingkod lang ang students tapos mamati lang siya sa teacher. So, muna siya itong gitawag nga teacher-centered. However, in 21st century, curriculum is connected to students' interest ug ga-focus sa performance sa isa ka estudyante. And this time, teachers are only facilitator. So today's curriculum aims to enhance learners' basic skills, produce more competent citizens and graduates for lifelong learning and employment. So in additional for K-12, so K stands for kindergarten and 12 refers to succeeding 12 years. 12 years of basic education. We have 6 years of elementary education, 4 years of junior high school, and 2 years of senior high school. So number 2, curriculum reflect as a product of its time. A relevant curriculum should respond to changes brought about the current social forces, philosophical positions, psychological principles, new knowledge, and educational reforms. This is also called timelines. This means that it was influenced and connected to the society we live in. So, kailangan siya mo response ug mo adapt sa mga changes within the environment or sa atong society. For example, nowadays, we experience a pandemic crisis. So, the ways of teaching change. So, sa wala pa ang pandemic, we used to go to school, dito mag-lecture, o dito apod mag-perform og mga activities, and so on. So, tungod kay naamay niabot nga pandemic, wala na to siya ga-expect. So, the higher education is still continue the classes through online platforms. So, muna siya isa ka example na kailangan mo-adapt ang environment sa panghitabo sa karon. So, number 3, curriculum changes made earlier can exist concurrently with newer curriculum changes. So, a revision in a curriculum starts and ends slowly. Curriculum is gradually paced in and paced out. As I said before, ang curriculum is dili siya consistent. Tungod ani, curriculum which is the teacher has been challenged ug unsaon nila pag-handle in terms of ani nga mga situations. If once another curriculum implemented, it takes years to end. For example, sa karon sa K-12, K-12 paced in at this year and then naay possibility sa next year ma-discontinue siya. Then another set of curriculum will be added, implement or adapt diris ato ang country. So, muna siya pasabot sa phase in and phase out. Number 4, curriculum change depends on people who will implement the change. Teachers will implement the curriculum used to involve in the development. Teachers are the implementers of the curriculum. At this time, kasi teacher man ang implementer, so he or she should be able to meet the objectives or desired learning outcomes and must target the interest of the students. Kaya if once dili ma-target or makatch up ang interest sa students is useless lang ang desired plan if dili siya effective. So as well as dili makita ang ways of teaching ni teachers sa iyang ka-creative in terms of na dapat dili mawala ang enjoyment while learning para mas nindot ang performance sa isa ka student. Number 5, curriculum development is a cooperative group activity. Group decision in some aspect of curriculum development are suggested. Consultation with stakeholders, when possible, will add to sense of ownership. So, any changes in the curriculum involve you dapat ang stakeholders, which is the teachers, students, and administrators. So, the teacher will work together with the administrator, professional planner, and curriculum developer. So, if any changes ang mahimo without na walay pagsinabtanay or support sa group, educators will fail. So, dapat yun na ay cooperation or teamwork to effect positive curriculum change. So, significant curriculum improve and success comes about the true effective group activity. Number 6. Curriculum development is a decision-making process made from choices of alternatives. A curriculum developer or designer must decide what content to teach, philosophy or point of view to support, how to provide multicultural groups, what methods or strategies, and what type of evaluation to use. So, diri na part is very essential. Diri mo sulod ang choices sa teachers ug unsa ang ilang paghimuon nga content, which is unsa ang dapat i-include ug i-exclude. What plans best serve the needs of the students as well as the society, and how will classes and grade levels will be organized. At this point, the teacher must assure that all students have an equal opportunity to learn.
Curriculum development is an ongoing process. Continuous monitoring, examination, evaluation, improvement of curricula are to be considered in the design. As the need of learners change, as society changes, and as new knowledge and technology appear, the curriculum must change. So as we observe nga nanatay K-12 because of the demand of international, because as we observe in our society, education in the Philippines is nang lack of 2 years. Mag-observe na to nga ang nurse or any profession sa Pilipinas is dili siya recognized internationally. That is why K-12 curriculum is implemented para ma-sustain na nato nga lack sa atong education. Next is curriculum development more effective. It is comprehensive rather than piecemeal. It must be carefully planned, should carefully establish intended outcome, support resources and needed time available, and should equip teaching staff pedagogically. So, curriculum is gina-plano na siya, gina-istudyhan, gina-research, bago siya i-implement. And then, before the implementation of the curriculum, the needed materials like books or mga teaching materials is gina-supply na, gina-prepare na daan sa government before siya i-implement. Curriculum development is more effective when it follows a system process. A curriculum design is composed of desired outcomes, subject matter content complemented with references, set of procedures, needed materials and resources, an evaluation procedure which can be placed in a matrix. So one of this example of a curriculum design is a lesson plan. So later on, I will discuss to you about its lesson plan and its component. So next is curriculum development. It starts from where the curriculum is. Curriculum planners and designers should begin with existing curriculum. An existing design is a good starting point for any teachers who plans to enhance and enrich the curriculum. Elements and components of a curriculum design. So what is the curriculum design? It is a term used to describe the purposeful, deliberate, and systematic organization of curriculum within a class or course. In other words, it is a way for a teacher to plan instruction. When teachers design curriculum, they define what will be done, who will do it, and what is scheduled to follow. So there are different terms of a curriculum design. So namely, syllabus, lesson plan, unit plan, and course plan. In my discussion, I will focus on what is lesson plan and its component. So what is a lesson plan? A lesson plan is a teacher's guide for what students need to learn, how it will be taught, and how learning will be measured. It helps the teachers more effective in the classroom by providing a detailed outline to follow each class period. There are 11 components of a lesson plan. First is the behavioral objective or the intended learning. So it is the precise outcome desired for an individual. Or in other words, they clarify for students and others what the target of instruction is. Or it serves as a level of performance or the basis for evaluation. So behavioral objective should be expressed in 3 domains, which are the cognitive domain or the intellectual skills, the affective domain or the feeling, appreciation or values, and the psychomotor domain, which is the physical movement and coordination. In creating your cognitive objective, you can use the verb words like define, duplicate, draw, list, label, memorize, and recite. While in affective domain, you can use the words ask, choose, describe, follow, give, hold, and identify. While in psychomotor domain, you can use the verb words like align, balance, follow, grasp, hold, place, repeat, and rest. In creating your cognitive objective, for example, you are going to use the word define. So it will go like this. After the discussion, the learners are expected to define the noun. Say for example like that. In the affective domain, if you are going to use the word identify, so after the discussion, the learners are expected to identify the different forms of noun. Psychomotor domain, if you are going to use the word repeat, so after the discussion, the learners are expected to repeat the definition of a noun. Next component is the subject matter. So it should be relevant to the outcome of the curriculum, it should be appropriate to the level of the lesson or the unit, and it should be up to date, and if possible should be reflect current knowledge or concept. Subject matter is the topic and the lesson title and the reference. Hindi na sila mo fall sa subject matter. Say for example, you are teaching English subject. So, example of the topic is 8 part of speech, and then the title is noun. Say for example like that. So, the next component of a lesson plan is a drill. So, what is a drill and why it is important? So, a drill is a method of characterized by system, repetition of concept, example, and practice problem. It is a technique that consists of repetition of oral pattern and structure. So, drill is essential or important when learning new materials or when learning new lesson. So, that is why it is included in the lesson plan. So, drill can be a form, or you can execute a drill in any form like choral repetition, flashcard, or games, and many more. For example, you are going to execute choral repetition, so you will pronounce the word first, then your student or your learner will repeat after you. So in that way, they will learn the word, the correct pronunciation of the word, as well as the vocabulary of that particular word. So the next component of our lesson plan is reviews. Before mo start ka og new lesson, it is important that you will have a quick review from your past lesson para dili malimtan sa mga estudyante. So like we're going to ask them what is the previous lesson, unsa ilang nadumduman, unsa ilang nakatunan, so forth. Something that just a quick review lang gyud para dili po to nila malimtan. Another component of a lesson plan is the motivation. So unsa maning motivation? This is done in order to catch the attention of your student para maganahan sila. Mahatag kag motivation para ma-excite sila sa imong new lesson. Motivation can be done in many form like song nga dapat relate ra sa imong topic or sa imong lesson, or a poem, or magpa-games baka like guessing a words nga magpa-excite sa ilaha. Then if you are rich enough, if you have lots of money para ma-motivate sila, is you will give them a reward. So the more sila mo participate sa imong pag-games. So the next component of the lesson plan is the presentation. The presentation is your discussion of your lesson for that day. So it is very important that you can deliver your lesson clearly and you can discuss it very well so that your learner will understand it. And then another important reminders is that when you're in the middle of your discussion, please regard any question or avoid giving question to your student because it might interrupt you and will make you out of focus. The next component of the lesson plan is the comparison and abstraction. This part of the lesson plan is the Q&A portion, the question and answer portion. This is the time that you will give question to your student what they have learned or what they have understand to your discussion, or and vice versa, your student will ask question for clarification. The next component is the generalization. So generalization is the sum up or the summary of your discussion. You can either give a brief summary of your discussion or you can ask question to your learners if unsa ilang nasabtan or nakasabot pa sila or giganahan ba sila, something like that. Next is the application. So, ang application is a form of activity. So, be careful lang po ka sa paghatag og application or activity nga dapat mo incline siya sa imong psychomotor or affective nga objective. So, like magpa-activity ka by group or individual. After ana is evaluation. So, ang evaluation is dapat incline po siya sa imong cognitive nga objective. So, the question should be in line with your cognitive objective. And lastly is your enrichment or homework. Again, your homework should be inclined with your topic and your objective as well. So just an important reminders that your lesson plan should be specific, measurable, attainable, result-oriented, and time-bound, or in other words, smart.
Good day everyone. My name is Loel Jay in Blanes and I will be reporting teaching and learning methods. So there are three types of teaching and learning methods, which is cooperative learning activities, the independent learning activities, and competitive learning activities. So first, the cooperative learning activities is to allow the students or learners to work together. Next is the independent learning activities. It allows the students or learner to develop personal responsibility. Next is the competitive learning activities. Allow the students to perform into their maximum. Next is the assessment or evaluation. There are three types of assessment or evaluation. First is the self-assessment, second is the peer assessment, and the third is the teacher assessment. So self-assessment is the students learn to monitor and evaluate their own learnings. In the peer assessment, students provide feedback on each other's learnings. And the teacher assessment, teacher give feedbacks on the student's performance. And there are two types of evaluation, which is the formative and the summative. A formative is just like our weekly quizzes, and the summative is the end of the term or midterms exam or final exam. Next is the 6 features of curriculum. There are 6 features of the curriculum: is the teacher, the learner, knowledge, skills and values, strategies and methods, performance, and community partners. First is the teacher. A good quality education requires quality teacher. And the good teachers bring shining light into the learning environment. So the teacher must be the role model of the students. Next is the learners, a center stage in the educative process. The learner is the most important factors in the learning environment. Next is the knowledge, skills, and values. Knowledge, skills, and values is what the learners learn in the teaching. And the strategies and methods are the techniques and the procedures for doing something. Performance is the learner's outcomes. And then, the community partners is a collaborative undertaking where teachers are the focal point of the process, serve as a co-educators for students that give appropriate service opportunities for students.